Titan is the only moon in the solar system with a thick, Earth-like atmosphere, complete with clouds and weather. But trying to breathe it would suffocate you with nitrogen, while simultaneously freezing your lungs from the inside at -179 degrees C, proving that atmospheric density means nothing without oxygen. You land on Titan and see something impossible anywhere else beyond Earth. Thick orange haze overhead, methane clouds drifting past, wind rippling across liquid lakes in the distance. Your suit gauge reads 1.5 times Earth's atmospheric pressure. For a moment you think, maybe this is it, the one place besides home where you could stand outside without a rigid pressure suit crushing your body or your blood boiling in vacuum. Then you check the composition readout. 98% nitrogen, 2% methane, 0% oxygen. The atmosphere that looks so promising is completely useless for the one thing you need atmosphere to do: provide oxygen to breathe. You stare at those numbers and reality sets in. Titan tricks you because it has all the superficial features of a breathable world. Thick atmosphere? Check. Surface pressure close to Earth's? Check. Weather systems, clouds, wind? Check, check, check. But breathable doesn't mean thick, it means oxygen content, and Titan has none. Let's work through what happens if you open your helmet and try to breathe this seemingly Earth-like air. Problem 1 is the oxygen deficit. Earth's atmosphere is 21% oxygen. Your lungs pull oxygen from air and transfer it to blood. Blood carries oxygen to cells. Cells use oxygen to generate energy. This chain runs constantly, every second you're alive. Break any link and the whole system collapses. Titan's atmosphere is 98% nitrogen, an inert gas your body can't use. Nitrogen just sits in your lungs doing absolutely nothing. You inhale, your chest rises. You exhale, your chest falls. Everything feels normal, but with every breath cycle, your blood oxygen level drops because there's nothing in the air your lungs can extract. Within 15 seconds, your vision starts narrowing at the edges, tunnel vision, as your brain rations diminishing oxygen supply. Within 30 seconds, confusion sets in. You feel dizzy, disconnected, like you're drunk. Your hands fumble with the helmet seal you just opened. Within 60 seconds, you black out. Your body is still breathing, chest moving rhythmically up and down, but you're unconscious because your brain has run out of oxygen. 2 to 3 minutes after that first breath, brain death begins. Cells die when oxygen stops, and you are breathing the entire time, lungs full of gas, suffocating anyway. Your helmet seal is damaged and leaking. You have two choices: remove the helmet completely and breathe Titan's nitrogen atmosphere while you repair the seal in 60 seconds, or hold your breath on your remaining oxygen for 60 seconds while working. Which gives you better survival odds? Pause and think it through. The answer? Hold your breath. Both options are terrible, but breathing nitrogen is worse than breathing nothing. When you hold your breath, your blood still has oxygen, it's just not being replenished. You'll get dizzy around 40 seconds, maybe black out at 60, but you might finish the repair first. If you breathe nitrogen, you're actively flushing the oxygen out of your lungs and replacing it with useless gas. You'll black out faster. The illusion of breathing is worse than the reality of not breathing. It's counterintuitive, but physics doesn't care about your instincts. Problem 2 is the cold. Titan's surface temperature is -179 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze methane into liquid and pool it in lakes. The atmosphere you're trying to breathe is the same temperature. When you inhale, -179-degree nitrogen rushes into your respiratory system. Your throat, trachea, and lung tissue are warm, wet, delicate. Extreme cold doesn't gradually chill them, it flash freezes them. Ice crystals form instantly on the inside of your airways. Moisture in your lungs turns solid. Tissue freezes and dies on contact. Blood vessels constrict violently, or they rupture. Even if Titan's air contained oxygen, which it doesn't, the cold would destroy your respiratory system before you could extract a single breath's worth. You'd be suffocating from lack of oxygen and simultaneously suffering catastrophic frostbite inside your body. Imagine breathing air cold enough to freeze gasoline. Your first inhale feels like inhaling broken glass made of ice. Your throat seizes. Your lungs try to warm the incoming air, but they can't. There's too much of it, too cold, too fast. The cold moves inward faster than your body heat can radiate outward. Within seconds, the inside of your chest feels like it's being stabbed with frozen needles. Your lungs aren't just cold, they're freezing solid while you're still using them. Problem 3 is the methane. 2% of Titan's atmosphere is methane, the same natural gas you burn in stoves on Earth. Methane doesn't react with your body chemically, but it displaces oxygen in your lungs. In high concentrations, methane causes dizziness, headache, nausea, then unconsciousness. It's what's called a simple asphyxiant. It suffocates you by taking up space where oxygen should be. Titan's methane concentration isn't high enough to knock you out immediately on its own, but combined with zero oxygen and extreme cold, it's another layer of danger. You're not just breathing inert nitrogen, you're also breathing flammable hydrocarbon vapor at temperatures that would crystallize your internal organs. There's one more problem most people don't consider: pressure change. Titan's surface pressure is 1.5 times Earth's, higher than you're used to, but not crushingly so. If you suddenly opened your helmet, the pressure differential wouldn't explosively decompress you like opening an airlock on Mars, but your ears would rupture from the sudden pressure change if you didn't equalize carefully. More importantly, if you managed to survive long enough to reseal your helmet and repressurize your suit back to Earth normal pressure, the gas in your lungs would expand. That expansion could rupture lung tissue, the same kind of injury scuba divers get when they hold their breath and ascend too fast. You'd give yourself the bends from trying to breathe Titan's atmosphere and then switching back. You're designing a Titan mission. The thick atmosphere means you can use lightweight, flexible suits instead of rigid spacesuits, saving weight and cost. But flexible suits are less protective against cold and tears. Do you choose cheaper, flexible suits with higher risk, or expensive, rigid suits that offer better protection? Budget constraints are real. Pause and decide. The answer depends on mission priorities, but here's what the physics says. Titan's atmosphere helps with pressure, but it doesn't help with temperature. A flexible suit saves you from vacuum problems. You don't need a hard shell to maintain internal pressure when external pressure is similar, but you still need insulation and heating systems just as robust as anywhere else in the outer solar system. The cold will kill you regardless of suit type. Cheaper suits might save budget up front, but they increase risk of thermal failure. Most mission planners choose rigid suits anyway because the cold is unforgiving, and suit tears on a world with hydrocarbon rain and abrasive ice are too likely. Titan's atmosphere gives you one engineering advantage: pressure tolerance, but doesn't eliminate any other danger. Why does Titan's atmosphere feel survivable when it's completely lethal? Because atmospheric density and atmospheric composition are two different things. Titan has density, 1.5 times Earth's surface pressure. It has weather, clouds, wind, precipitation. It looks and behaves like an Earth-type atmosphere in every way, except the one that matters: chemical makeup. Having air doesn't mean breathable air. Pressure doesn't equal oxygen. You can have a thick atmosphere that still kills you as thoroughly as hard vacuum, just slower and in a more complicated way. You need a full pressure suit with oxygen supply, exactly like on Mars or the Moon. Titan's atmospheric pressure means your suit doesn't need to be rigid like a spacesuit designed for a vacuum. It can be more flexible, more like a dry suit with integrated heating and oxygen systems. But you absolutely cannot remove your helmet, not for 1 second. Not to feel alien wind on your face, not to test if maybe your lungs could adapt. Titan's thick atmosphere is an advantage for engineering. Habitats don't need to hold pressure against vacuum, parachutes work normally, aircraft can fly, but it offers zero biological advantage. You live on Titan the same way you'd live on Mars, in sealed environments with imported oxygen, never breathing the local air. For long-term colonization, which is better? Mars with no atmosphere that you must create from scratch, or Titan with thick atmosphere you can't breathe but can use for engineering? Both require sealed habitats and oxygen generation. Does Titan's existing atmosphere give it an advantage, or is it meaningless without oxygen? Think about it before you decide. Titan's atmosphere helps, but not as much as you'd hope. Mars has almost no atmosphere. You have to build everything to hold pressure against near vacuum. Titan's atmosphere means your habitats don't fight pressure differentials. Your construction is easier, and you can use atmospheric nitrogen as a resource for fertilizer and chemical processes. But you still can't breathe it. You still need oxygen production. the fundamental problem, humans need oxygen, remains identical on both worlds. Titan's atmosphere is useful for engineering and resource extraction, but it doesn't solve the core biological problem. Oxygen is the critical variable, not atmospheric density. A thick atmosphere without oxygen is like a desert oasis filled with gasoline, technically a liquid, completely useless for keeping you alive. The ironic lesson: the only other world in the solar system with Earth-like atmospheric pressure and active weather cycles is utterly unbreathable. Titan looks more survivable than Mars at first glance, but both worlds require the same life support infrastructure. Thick atmosphere, clouds, wind, lakes, none of it matters if the air doesn't contain oxygen. Titan is proof that atmosphere alone doesn't equal survival. Chemistry matters more than density. And minus 179 degrees means even if you brought your own oxygen, opening your helmet 1 second would freeze your face solid and destroy your respiratory system from the inside.
Titan tricks you with familiarity. It has atmosphere. It has weather. It looks survivable. But physics doesn't negotiate. Nitrogen is inert. Methane displaces oxygen. Minus 179 degrees freezes tissue instantly. You can breathe normally and suffocate anyway. Your lungs will be full, your chest will move, and you'll die of oxygen starvation while breathing an atmosphere thick enough to carry sound and scatter light. That's what Titan offers: the illusion of breathability in a world designed to kill you in multiple simultaneous ways.